Hey everyone, this is Sparda's World Podcast Extra. Here where we discuss something that cannot be done in the podcast, rather a separate occasion, and just dealing with one topic. Oh, because, well, I got a lot of things to say about that. Sometimes it can be just an exclusive chapter review all alone. It could be an overall. It could be this topic of the week or whatever. It could be anything. It just has to be something separated from the podcast because the podcast just can't deal with that long discussion for one specific topic. So now what we have here is Tokyo Ghoul anime. Now let me give you a brief history. Long time ago, around 2014, I believe it was around September. I remember hearing, or rather seeing, forums having a display of the scene with Kaneki going against Jason in a when that whole moment where Kaneki breaks out and just beat the hell out of Jason in an animated form. I see the one that he grabbed his leg, he won't let go, only for Kaneki to twist it and pretty much just keep on fighting, being all badass and whatnot. That's the one I saw no time. Now I have heard about Tokyo Ghoul beforehand, and it was around I believe like around I want to say June. I believe it was June, where they have a list of anime that's coming out in the summertime, and Tokyo Ghoul was one of them. And that blogger was saying that Tokyo Ghoul is something he really wants to see, and really cautioned to see how they're gonna produce this. They want to see how they're gonna adaptation. It was one of the most worth looking at adaptation in their list. And, I haven't heard any about disappointment because I didn't really dig in thoroughly until the fact that the manga I keep hearing about is really, really good. So before I get to the manga, I get to hear more of the anime, more so because you know how anime are, they always spread. But then when you go to Tumblr, forums and whatnot, you start to hear more about the manga. And then I start to hear more about the anime adaptation being not so good, or pretty terrible. So I usually think that sounds a huge exaggeration on their end, with all due respect, because I know they're a fan of the series, and I know when it comes to bad adaptation, they could just get so rowdy about the bad adaptation. They just don't want that. They just want to make it the best. They just want the anime, the series itself to be such a really, really phenomenal one. You get like series that get a great treatment, such as Hunter x Hunter. The Madhouse did a great job to make it to stand out so much. Fullmetal Alchemist, they got a brotherhood, and Studio Bones made it stand out much more than ever. So it's always fitting, it's right. It's right for Tokyo Ghoul to get that kind of treatment. Attack on Titan got that treatment. If the anime didn't happen, I don't think they will have that much of a huge success like that. I mean, it was a success on its own. It was selling like up to 400,000, but now it's selling over 1.5 million. Tokyo Ghoul needed that huge boost of an anime. Needed great production, it's something that you just wanted to show off to your brother, sister, friends, family, even anybody. You just wanted to show it because this is kind of like how it's kind of like how Attack on Titan. With Attack on Titan, you get people like, you gotta see this anime, it's so awesome and stuff like that. But with Tokyo Ghoul, for some people, a lot of people are iffy about it because it's so different, as they say. So it got me curious after reading Tokyo Ghoul. It got me curious, what is exactly up with the anime? How bad is it? Is it bad, or is it really something that the fans would just call it bad because it didn't get an adaptation correctly or anything like that? Now I finally got to see it myself, and first before I started watching them, I found out there was only 12 episodes. And then I remember reading the manga, thinking to myself, Jason versus Kaneki happened around chapter 63, 4, around there, in the 60s. And I remember there's a lot of dialogues, a lot of development, a lot of characteristics in the beginning of the series. So how exactly did they cram all that into 12 episodes? It just can't be possible. I mean, it's weird. How can it work? not to be fair, before I started watching Tokyo Ghoul, I actually saw Nanasu no Taizai, also known as the Seven Deadly Sins, the anime itself, and it was like 24 to 25 episodes. I think it was 24 or 25. I remember that much now, but I remember it crammed like over 100 chapter in there. It sounds crazy, but at the same time, if for some reason it felt like it was dealt good enough to make the people be entertained and not complain so much. I of course there's going to be people that's going to be like, what, the manga version is better, you got to read the manga again. Still, granted, I'll always do that myself. People should do that too. Tokyo Ghoul is a different story because it's like I know there's a lot of dialogue. The way how they treated Nanasu no Taizai, it seems like they did it the right way to make it entertaining and make it good, rather than erasing a lot of things and make you question what just happened or how we got to this part and how we get there, how we got that. It makes sure the important elements is remain there, while the one that's not so important is removed. But it doesn't really harm the series itself. It makes it better with all the characterization and more vibrant for these characters. But in the end, it's all entertaining and it works. For Tokyo Ghoul, I just think it can do that. It needed amount of time to make it work. Because it does start off like, slow, showcasing the characters, showcasing their, the identity, to get the understanding the world of Ghoul, the CCG, and all that other aspect. It can be done in a very rushed aspect of what they're trying to do in this one. So that bothers me so long, and I had to see it myself. Even though a lot of friends of mine just told me, don't watch it. I finally did. I have to watch it, get out of the way, because I don't want to be like the guy that just say a lot of nonsense and then I never watch the anime and then my credibility would just drop. So it makes no sense for me to do that. So I have no rights to talk about them until I see it myself. So finally, I have seen both Tokyo Ghoul and Rude, which is a sequel, season 2, or rather like a whole new story. It's not a whole new story in terms of this own season, but it's a whole new story in terms of Tokyo Ghoul itself. Actually, it can't be that much of a whole new story. They actually incorporated of the actual manga scenes that actually happen. It's just a lot of switch around. It sounds good on paper, but we get to that soon. So what I thought about this whole overall series in anime form. Now I'm going to break down 2 parts, and then I'll talk about the entire overall. But for season 1, despite there's problems, I thought it was not so bad. It wasn't that bad. For what it is, it's not so bad. Now, as a fan or the guy who knows the series itself, I would say this. The anime version is a shonen edition of Tokyo Ghoul. And what I mean is, a lot of things it's not about it's less blood, it's less gory. I'm not talking about that. It's more of a less dark. It's weird, but it's less dark. The darkness is still there, but it's less dark than the manga series. For example, when Kaneki was trying to find something to eat, he found an alleyway, and he was so hungry to find it, he thought it was something delicious, only to find out a ghoul is eating a dead body. And in the anime form, the guy who's the ghoul that was eating that person, that was eating the corpse, he was like, hey, we could share. You want some of this? You want to have this kind of food? Here, I'll share for you. Come on, kid, and stuff like that. Manga edition, however, got that guy say, hey, what the fudge are you? I try not to get. What the hell are you doing here? Get the hell out of here. This is my food. Don't make me kill you. It's so cold. It's cold. The world is supposed to be cold. Now, in this one, they made it more lighter. They made it more tamed. They made it more not so cruel. It made it seem like everything can be dealt with easily if you're all about belief and friendship or something like that. They don't do that. But my point is, they're more lighthearted than that. They don't want to go too dark route. They don't want to make it too seinen like as the series already is. And First episode, they rushed. They mentioned put 5 chapters. I think it was 5 chapters in one episode, and they managed to do that. And it's crazy even to fit in all that. They erase a lot of content, of course, but it just missed out so many characterization on Kaneki. Now, and Kaneki is another problem. Okay, as a standalone anime, he's okay character, but when it comes to adaptating the character from the manga version, he's different. He's a big difference. This one, he's more of a very innocent, like, not so much of a personality person, a very nice guy, a guy that just make you want to say, oh, I feel sorry for him because he went to the ghoul, because he has to become a ghoul, and you see him suffering, and not much of that. He's like a target person that just make you want to say, oh, kind of like if you have a kid that's just that doesn't have that much of personality or doesn't have that much of character, and just and the kid's just like sad. You see him or her sad because he just finally meet the parents or meet somebody or just find something home. But you don't give that much characterization. You don't give them backstory of them. You don't give them something to relate. You only see them to say, ooh. It's kind of like a little kid. Like you've seen them doing something cutesy, and then you just say, oh. That's Kaneki in the anime edition. The manga edition, he has more character, much more character than the anime. Because what's weird is in the first episode, Kaneki, when he wants to remove the organs of the ghoul, in the anime, it seems like he was suicidal. It's weird. It's like he wanted to kill himself and he wanted to kill himself or get rid of the organ by just stabbing himself. In the manga version, he wants to get rid of the organ. However, he plans it by doing a setup, by having his best friend Hiden to call the ambulance for him, and then when he stabbed him, when Kaneki stabbed himself, gets hurt, they're gonna get a new kidney, and then he would no longer have a Tokyo Ghoul, no longer have a ghoul kidney. Was it kidney? I think it was kidney. It was an organ. Point is, he had a plan to make it switch a bait, but it didn't work because obviously his body is so powerful now that the knife won't cut him through or stab him through. So that plan failed. But the point is, the point is to show him his smartness. Also, the narrative is different as well. Because Kaneki, again, he's more of just there of being there, so being pitiful because he been turned into a ghoul. In a manga edition, we know his character. He's not such a very nice, delicate guy. He's actually just a human being, like a human being that we could understand. Like he's not just too nice. He has some problems. He has his own issues. He has something that a lot of people can be as well. For example, he's about the book by Sen. He's about the whole, inspiration of the book. Always relate to the stories that he really loves. He always talk about the comparison. It's like, this reminds me of that stories where there's a monster trying to switch organs and stuff like that. You got that kind of character of him. That narrative, especially when he became a ghoul. When he became a ghoul, he in the anime edition, he just became a ghoul and just that's it. Like there's no narrative. There's no him saying like, you would have think I'm a hero or anything like that. But if I was to be part of the story, then if anything, I would be considered tragic. This is that narrative of a tragic. That's the entire series itself in a nutshell. It's about tragedy. Now, it's not like being forced to be like, oh, feel sorry for him. It just goes slowly but surely building up on why he's such a tragic hero. Why he went through this and why we could relate to him and why we could understand his struggles. So the anime is so straightforward. It's not to say the manga itself is straightforward, but it has more idea of, I wanted to show this scene and that's it, because I want to get to that pinpoint of that scene because I know a lot of people like that scene, and it shows because they changed the story up. They they changed the story up, and they want to get to the part where everybody considered the breaking point of Tokyo Ghoul, where everybody, if you're not a fan of it, don't read it anymore. If you became a fan of it, then have fun. And that's the part with Jason versus Kaneki, you know, where Kaneki loses his mind, just say, screw the world and just do this and that. So, you know, they want to get to that point, and it shows because it's like episode 12. It rushed a lot of things. It changed a lot of things. It deletes the characterization. They rush a lot of things as well. Like one episode, it just has so many materials, and they just say and they just keep going to the next one. It's like, okay, let's start your training. By the way, you know, this person want to meet you, and they're like, what the hell? Shouldn't it get to the training, and then, you know, that'll be later on, and then it's just all bunched in. Managed to have like 2 to 3 chapters to come all together somehow. It's just too fast paced, and then it's just like a lot of things keep happening with Nishiki getting bullied down by the ghoul and everything. It just keep going fast and fast. It's weird. It wants to get to that checkpoint. It wants to get to that moment of a really cool moment, which I understand, but you gotta tell. You gotta tell a story. You gotta show the story. You gotta visualize it. You can't get to that pinpoint. It reminded me of the Last Airbender, the movie, that crappy movie where it only cares about getting to the point of the story and never show the characters and never really make it identifiable. You know, it's just busy to get to the pinpoint of the series. But yeah, that I don't appreciate that. But like when it's shonen, everything gets lighthearted. It's not about the blood part. It didn't matter to me if it's bloody or not bloody or gory or whatever. It's just the light nature. The weird thing is, I noticed the series by the time I finished Rude. I'm not gonna go to Rude discussion. By the time Rude ended, I realized the series don't want it to portray the same thing as the manga with the jokes or anything. There's jokes, but they don't want to portray like a comedy. Like they want to make this series too serious, as in nobody make a facial reaction, kind of like what you see in Attack on Titan. Nobody really make a facial expression like a comedy one, like white eyes, big expression, big head. I mean, you get that from Gene and Attack on Titan, but or some other character. But the point is, it's not over the top. That's what they did with Tokyo Ghoul anime. They try not to be over the top. The only over the top part was he did running like super fast, like whoop. So that's the only fast part. But you know, you don't see that a little beanie eyes when they do something big mistake. You know, there's a lot of comedy scene they remove, like such as Toka and Kaneki going against Yoma for a sparring match, and then Toka just kicked the crap out of Kaneki. He's like, oh, it's like you don't get that, or that little part where Hinami get her haircut, and then Toka's like, all right, here we go, cut a haircut, made a mistake, and she's like, ah, it's like, damn it. But point is like they don't want to do a lot of comedies. Now, to give them credit, they did put comedy in the preview, which there is no preview. They want to be so dark and edgy, more darker than it needs to be in a strange way, because it's so light and shonen like. But anyway, they managed to put those after the ending credits. So at least some of theirs is there, which is I think it's based on the mecha. So more or less it's based on the mecha, because I know some of them is a little bit cutting down. But either way, it's at least that part is nice to me. Animation wise, they're good. Nothing special though. They're not that. I think I give more credits in the art direction. Whoever did the art, I know it's arguable that the art direction is suitable or not suitable for this kind of series, but I like the art direction when it's really good. But like, you know, the still shots when the guy put all his work into it, they look good. They do look good. I'll give him that. You know, I don't mind getting like a wall scroll of that one with Kaneki and Toka side by side, upside down. Looks cool and everything, because the art is good. Animation is not so bad. They're good. They're passable. They're good. It just, I wish they could have been desired more. I think one of the episodes that makes it really awkward is when Toka was going against the CCG investigator as Rabbit, and somehow the sound department, it seems like it's missing the sound effect. It's like, I forgot to put that sound there. There's no impact in those punches or kicks or anything. I'm not saying every punch has to be explosive, like boom, but it seems so quiet. It's weird. I don't know. It seems like the production team forgot to animate that or forgot to do that right or something. I just don't know. It was weird to sound. It seems very quiet, but I really don't know, really. The soundtrack is good. I like the soundtrack. I gotta give it that. I enjoyed the soundtrack. I do think there's one soundtrack that sounds like I've been hearing it over and over again. It's one of those like a piano eerie music when something like, hey, did you know that One Eye Ghoul was this place? Ding! It's like that. I think I hear that more than enough, but it didn't bother me too much, so I can't really complain. I think in a presentation wise, they're good. They're good overall. They're good. Not amazing. Not in special about it. Just good. Though I do think the soundtrack is probably the bigger out of the two in terms of like something to look forward to for your amusement, because it does stand out in a good way. So that's good. I'm not even going to talk about the intro because the intro is awesome. The Unravel by TK from I don't even know how you say it, Ling Susi Shigui is awesome. It is such a really, 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 really good song. I really wish I knew it earlier. But yeah, the ending theme is good too. They have two themes. I mean, not two themes. They have two ending images. Like one is like more serious, the other one is just more relaxed. It's nice and all. I like the ending as well. Like I said, they rushed a lot of things. Kaneki is more of a different character, if anything. He's more of just the guy there. There's also another things like they make it seem like there's not much of a huge problem in the world, or there's not that much of a characterization. For some reason, they don't want to make it more complex in terms of the reality of that universe, that world at least. Like with Toka trying to fight CCG investigator for avenging for Hinami's mother, and when she's like, when she was in the alleyway all hurt. She only talked about like, I know it wasn't the right thing, but I must do something. But they skipped the whole part. It's like, I know humans are actually good people. Trust me, I know that. The anime is trying to make it your typical, well, she is so hot-headed, so she will do a thing for whatever, no matter what. But in the manga version, she understands humans. She understands everything about it. Now, granted, they do put that in the anime edition, but it does it like around episode 8 or 9. But in the manga edition, it's more diverse into that aspect of her understanding the human nature and the ghoul world. They side by side. It makes sense for why Toka has to do all this and that. In the anime, they made it very simple, make it very typical, more like a shonen characterization aspect. Because when you look at Tokyo Ghoul, they take the shonen aspect and make it more diverse into a sentence like especially like the whole "I will protect my friend no matter what." It sounds like you're shonen hero and stuff like that, right? But the series itself actually make it into a bad thing rather than a great thing, because not everything what you hear or see or that kind of line of protecting a friend is not always a great thing. It's not always a good guy thing. So they like to do that twist and turn. In the anime, is more simple, more straightforward, and it's very rushed. I don't even know how. Kaneki got into the whole Jason torment with it just skipped right ahead. It's like, oh, I got beat up. Where am I? My finger, my toes. It just happened so by quick. One episode 11, I really thought I missed an episode. Like, why am I seeing Amon already at the Orgiri hideout? Why am I seeing Kaneki already getting tortured? Did I skip an episode? Turns out that was a pre-intro of showing you what's going to happen next, and then you see the intro, and then you see the episode stuff, and then it show you how to get there. Except for Kaneki, because I still didn't see how they got there. Also for Kaneki, more proof that he's different from the anime. I'm sorry, manga. Is when Kaneki, when you see the people that Jason told him to pick one to die, pick one to spare, whatever. And, Kaneki's like, all sad and stuff like that. In the manga, he's all pissed off because he said, "You bastard, why you lie to me?" Yeah, he's so angry, and then, when he gets killed, I mean, when both of them get killed. Oh, by the way, another one. This is just a sentence thing, but no, it doesn't matter. But it is more effective, in my opinion. More of a not the who's getting killed off, but more of a how to build up to that killed off. As in to say, Jason killed two people. Now the two people he killed, it wasn't actually a kid and a mother. It was actually just two guys, just two of them. Just got killed off bad, and that's it. And the manga edition, and we just got to see them for the first time. I think for the first time. So I was like, who are they? So in the manga edition, you get the whole build up like, hey, I'm this guy, I'm the mother, I'm this child. It's like, oh, you're nice people, I will help you out. And then, then when he gets caught, and then when he gets tormented, and then you see them, you can understand why Kaneki is so pissed off. You can understand why this is hurtful. And yeah, it does add a huge impact when the kid died, because it just shows you Jason is just really, really screwed up in the head beyond belief. But it's that part doesn't need it to be animated. It's just the idea of like building up for why this scenery makes so much impactful for Kaneki or for ourselves as well. Then the weird thing about the last episode is, as much as cool it was to see Kaneki kicking Jason's ass, it felt like it was more focused. It felt like it was more focused on. I guess it was doing the Code Geass, where it has a lot of things going on, and then if you really want to see what's gonna unfold next, you just have to see the next. You have to see the next season. I don't know. I'm more used to a lot of season ending their stuff and then wait for the next season to continue on. A lot of series does that. I guess they want to do the Code Geass style, but it's so abrupt because a lot of things, it's just too many introductions, like Ayato versus Toka, then Yoshimoto going to being the one-eyed ghoul going against the entire CGG people, and then you got the Jason and Kaneki fighting each other, it ends it there, and then he didn't being there and all that other stuff. A lot of things has changed, especially the arc-wise. Like Shu arc goes first, the Gourmet arc goes first instead of second. And, the placement is not so bad though, but just a lot of things so different. It's like, I guess that's why you could advertise it so easily, because if you try to advertise it with the Ascendant edition, I think a lot of people would be like, kind of dark, or too dark. So the anime edition, I can understand why they could advertise it. It is more harmless than the manga edition. And season 1 wasn't so bad. I enjoyed it. I understand the gripe. Trust me, I understand the gripe. So, but I enjoyed it for what it is, for the standalone thing. It's not so bad. It could have been so much better, but it's not so bad for what it has to do, especially how they make the story more to Jason. Somehow, it's not so bad. Rude is a different story. That one is a different story. That one I can understand why everybody hates it so much. I don't hate it, but I really feel like they really missed the park in this one. They really missed the home run in this one. They missed everything. They struck out right here. First of all, okay, I understand Ishida, the mangaka of the series itself. He made the story because apparently he didn't like the anime adaptation of season 1, from what I heard. I don't know if that's true. And he provided a draft, which, by the way, it was said that his draft was so long that they had to cut up a lot of things, and then they had to produce 12 episodes again. That's right, they still want to do 12 episodes, even though they obviously have something great in their hand. Studio Parrot, by the way, I forgot to mention, Studio Parrot is the one that animate this series itself. And I just don't get it. I really don't get it. But anyway, here's the problem with the anime. Okay, as I mentioned before with Kaneki, Kaneki is not much of a character like the series itself. Now, this is the real problem with this season. First of all, Kaneki in this season was very lifeless. Like, I don't even know why he joined Ogiri. Did somebody offer him that? Did I miss something about that? Is Ito playing around with gigglings is a sign of, hey, can you join us, please? Thank you. I don't know. Like I said, the draft got cut off. There's a lot of things they skipped. So, I don't know. I missed that. I'm like, why are you going to Ogiri? And then I remember the manga version say, like, I'll go Ogiri. My ass, I'll go in there. Like, I'll go that piece of shit place. What did I miss in the anime edition? It never explained. It's just him going there and that's it. I don't get it. Who offered him that job? I don't know. So, it's weird how they start off. But let me get back to Kaneki. Kaneki is so lifeless in this season. Like, okay, like I said, there was more personality in the manga version, even for season 1 lengthwise. Because, he's a guy, he's smart, he's not too innocent. He used the book for references. He has a character, he has an agenda of his own. He can be funny, especially like, when they had to sneak into CCG. He's like, okay, what the hell are we doing? Can you just tell me? You see that place? Yeah. That's CCG. Yeah, what about it? Oh, so you're going to go there? Nope, we're going. Oh, what? No. You don't get that. Even with the Toka being late, she wasn't late in this anime edition. She wasn't late in this one. He just being like just one very innocent guy, so cutesy, innocent. But in the manga version, he was like, okay, she's late. Oh, there she is. Why are you so late, huh? Hello? He's like, he can get fed up. He can get like, what the hell? He has a personality, damn it. But in the anime edition, with Rude A especially, he's so lifeless. He doesn't talk. He doesn't appear that often, which is weird. And he starts to talk more for when he goes back to Oteku. Which, by the way, I don't know why he went back. I don't even know what made him go back. What made him question about One-Eyed Ghoul? There was no scene that made him question. How does Centipede mode and then all that get off of my head made him go back to Otaku and ask that question? I don't get it. Is skip a scene? I think we did. That's what happened. This season was so heavily rushed. It left a lot of plot hole. It left a lot of plot being unfulfilled. They canceled out the whole Riza incident. The whole who killed her. They literally just erased that from season 2. Season 1, they have it sort of, but they erased that in season 2, so it doesn't mean crap. I don't get it. I just don't really get it. And like I said, Kaneki was lifeless. He didn't say much. When Toka meet him again, they have that scene. They kept that scene, but it was very less impactful. When Hidem and Toka meet each other and talk, they were talking about about Kaneki. By the way, more showing up and more anime, more shonen like is where Kaneki, he had his mom, he loved his mom so much, but then she overworked herself to death, and that was it. He had no home until Hidem happened. That was it. Manga version, the aunt took her in. He took him in. He made his life live in hell because he was jealous. It made war worse. So it's like better off no home than home with her. More darker. And then we get the idea with Kaneki being such a good liar, good hider, good anything, whatever. More in depth. So in the anime version, it's like, oh yeah, he's just a sad guy. Sad him, right? So that was it. Kaneki. He starts to talk more when he goes back to Otaku with the whole Otaku raid arc, which, obviously one of the pinnacle of the series. Not much to say. He really doesn't have much to say in the series. He doesn't have that much character. In the manga edition, around that arc, which, by the way, we didn't even went to Kano arc, the Kano raid arc, this lab. When they didn't go to that one, they didn't go. When they didn't go to that one, they improvised with it with the whole CG with the whole Ghoul prison place. That's their replacement, which is not bad, to be honest with you. I would have liked that direction. Have it be more characterization. The thing is, it has more problem of showing the spotlight or showing the character that we all know, like a movie, like The Last Airbender again, like hey, who's this guy? You know this guy? Remember the manga? Yeah, I'm gonna show him and his fight. Boom, there you go. Oh, remember this guy? Yeah, I'm gonna let him show you and he fight. Boom. That's it. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no reason why that person's fighting. There's no reason why they meet up. And there's still no reason why Kaneki joined Ogiri. It was never clear. It was just he just joined them, and there's no agenda that he has. He's just there like, okay. In the manga version, he was like, I want to go there because I want to find out the whole truth, and I want to freaking kill that bastard. Which he didn't do that, but he found out the truth. And then what made him change his mind and made him resolution and made him rethink about his process is when he attacked Banjo. When he hurt him bad and he thought he killed him, but he didn't. But he realizing that he's really suffering a lot and he's really doing the wrong way. And then it takes a long time to recuperate himself and try to get back to his normal life. And then that's where he thought about going to Teku. But not only about going to back Teku, but the fact that one of the clown posses, not the band, not one of those guys, they remember, if I recall correctly, they told him, oh, I know who's a one-eye owl, who's a one-eye king. And he whispered to his ears, and he was like, you got to take that grain of salt. And he got curious, but he never asked that yet. Then he goes to him and asks that because it relates to him. But instead, in the manga version, the anime version, he just go there because. I don't know. They never was clear. I know he asked for one-eye ghoul, but they never made it clear why he even go there. I know he met one-eye ghoul in the anime edition early on, but it never made him ask that. And why it has to transition to him? It just doesn't make sense. Ooh, did I miss a scene? I think I did. I don't know. The only one that has a real development that kept it right was the CCG, Almond and Akiri, and Takizawa. They got it right. They got them right for the most part. Another downside is the lack of build-up for Arima. Now, Arima was supposed to be the Death Reaper of the CCG group. And he's such a top tier, such a high class, and nobody can touch him, literally. They didn't build him up in here. Instead, they made him into be a character that's just, oh, he's strong because he just is. So, what? The way they built it up in the manga was, they built it up big time. They built him up big time. They built him up ever since they talk about the history of the one-eye ghoul. Then they talk about Yoma fighting him. Then talk about him being there. Then, him not writing the last will. Everything about it. And then when you see Arima going against Kaneki in the manga, it gives you the idea, oh shit, he's going to die. So it gives you that build up finally comes together, and it makes you so worried if Kaneki's going to die, which technically he did. So it doesn't have that in the manga, in the anime edition. It doesn't have that at all. He's just there because he's just strong. Okay. But more lighthearted note is that, they made Yoshimaru his past with his wife and the kid who's Ito. They changed it up by having the ending different. Instead of like forcing him to kill her because she's like a reporter that knows about the whole organization, so he has to kill her he has to kill her or they will kill him and the family itself. So, it's such a dark turn of event. In the anime edition, they just chase them like, oh no, you didn't, and then just kill her. And then it's like, please let the daughter reign free and stuff like that. Let the child go free and stuff like that. And then that was it. And then, he just top it off. That's my daughter. That's my child. That child is the one-eye owl and stuff like that. Then, I didn't mind the breakup process of the talk. Like, he's telling him later, like, if you want to return to Teku, you got to remember that you have both worlds in your eyes. They split them up and make it more meaningful for each of the episode. So I didn't mind that part. I just didn't like the fact that Kaneki is different from the manga edition. He literally has nothing to do with this anything. If anything, he's just a walking bystander with a strong Kagane, and just fights. It's just not there, and it's weird because you see his Kakaja with his centipede mode, and it only happened once. It doesn't happen anymore. In the later scene, in the last arc, it didn't happen anymore. Why? It's just too much. I don't know why. Just too much. I did appreciate some of the set piece they left it there. With the whole the entire the entire raid. I appreciate some of the additional moments, like how Yoshimaru ends up dying. Well, not really dying, but get defeated by the CCG. They had that really nice soundtrack. The soundtrack in here is actually still good, and it's actually better than the first one, at least in my opinion. At the time being, it could be changing my anytime. And I thought the soundtrack was the main highlight in terms of presentation, or even the overall of the series. Now, that said, the animation art seems to tell me that they lost good amount of budget. The studio period. Now, keep in mind, this is after where they made a movie. When they got more adaptation to work on. So, to me, it seems like they lost a lot of amount of money, or they just used amount of money to the other series, which is somewhat baffling because the other series, okay. Honestly, no series should deserve no series deserve a lower budget, crappy edition of an anime adaptation. However, if we have to choose one, why not Tokyo Ghoul? Because Tokyo Ghoul is a rising star. It's a series that needs that popularity boost, which it is getting now, but it needs more than that. It needs the much deserving production. And Studio Period really missed the ball in here. The animation, like, I think it was episode 10, was really awkward. Like, it's such an awkward movement. It's something. It seems something you see in Naruto, in a very bad episode of Naruto, in terms of animation. It looks weird, and the art, the still arts, they're still good when it's still, but when it comes to movement, some of them are really lacking. Like, you could really tell, and it's not like you have to pause it every frame by frame. You can actually see it without doing a frame by frame, so you could really tell the animation art are really downgraded from the first season. And, first season did, like I said, it's not special, but they're good. They're passable at the very least. Could it be better? Of course. But they're passable. In this one, there seems something wrong with it. And again, they're trying to avoid a lot of, there's no more comedy in this one. They try to do comedy, the same one as the manga, which is still good and funny. But it, like I said, they try to avoid to go to unserious route. Like, for example, Amon asks Akira to have dinner, and she's like, that sounds good, but I'm not gonna do it. So nope, bye. And then instead of seeing Amon reactions like, ooh, shut down, rejected. You got that face like, oh, you had that funny face, and then you got Takizawa, ooh, what about me? I want to go dinner. So. It's that normal light-hearted charm of humor. But in this one, it's like, you don't see it. You don't see Amon's face. You get the idea he got, rejected. Like, no, that's okay. It's like, why are you trying to prevent from making it, such a, I guess you could say, why so serious, Tokyo Ghoul? It could be serious, but it don't have to be 100% serious. It has its charm for a reason. But I don't know. Studio Parrot trying to make this very symbolic and everything. It's weird because the manga itself is already symbolic, so why do it further for your own sake? Why try to do it more? That in case in point, last episode. Okay, I'll be honest with you. I actually would like the last episode if it wasn't the last episode, or even the length. I don't know why. I find it okay. Another problem is in another anime production, this could have worked great. This could have a stronger a stronger feel, emotion. Now, what's the problem is, the build up to it was lacking because, Kaneki is very lifeless, so you don't understand his character that much at all. B, the animation and art in that one is okay. It's decent, but I think if you give it to Madhouse or anyone else, or give it to the one that's doing Fate Stay Night, the Unlimited Break, if you give it to those guys, they would have made that scene very impactful because the art and animation would seem very, very, I guess you could say visual storytelling. It would have been stronger. It would have worked. That's the thing. It would have worked. C, this is the last episode. The length, you're using the walking scene, which I didn't mind, but there's a length. You have a time limit. And this is the last episode. So you're killing time for a really, really beautiful song, the Unravel acoustic edition, but you're just wasting so many time. And you did, like I say, you don't have the build up, and the animation art is not so great. So it just doesn't feel like, I felt like in another world, it would have worked so much well. So that's the problem with that whole scene. And it's amazing to use Connect. It's amazing that he then has to die in this series, in this version of the series, to make it because it was so hyped up for Rude in a poster. Who's the one that's gonna die? The exclusive death. Who's gonna be the one who's gonna die? That it didn't happen in the manga, or maybe it did happen in the manga. I don't know. I think it's like. This is like Game of Thrones, where they kill characters that didn't happen in the book yet, or not at all. So that's the main hype. And, it could have delivered strong if the series was done right. That's the problem. The build up and everything is just so out of place. Like, I felt bad, but that's because I felt bad in terms of being a fan of the series rather than felt bad because of how the story has written. It wasn't written well. I seen the draft. There was more scene. There was going to be more scene, more connection, more development between Kaneki and Naki, more Kaneki even. So I don't get it. But like the last episode, I thought it was nice in some form of way, but I just think what I just said really didn't help a lot. And it being the last episode, and abruptly, no less. Like the ending once the briefcase opened from Arima, it rushed. It just get to Toka, opening up the restore, and then a new day awaits, and that was it. No, what happened to Hinami? No, what happened to Nishiki, Shu? What's next with Ito? What happened to Uta? They ain't mentioned the clown at all. No Parrot at all. So, Kanui, I think that's how you say his name. That damn doctor. What happens to him? We only saw his shadow. That was it. Why he's doing this? I don't know. Bananas. So there's so many missing plot holes and all that stuff. The whole Riza being dismissed about the whole Riza being dismissed altogether in terms of who killed her or who tried to kill her. What happened to her? We don't even know what happened to her. So it's like One-Eyed Ghoul. They got the same power as Kaneki. Why? I don't know. Never explained. I don't know. But yeah, Rude, I could definitely see why people really dislike it. I don't hate it, but I do dislike it in both. I guess you could say I'm almost leaning towards hate as a fan of the series, but as a standalone, I still dislike it. I like the soundtrack, I really do. The arts can be good when it's still, especially with Kaneki. Animation is slacking, unfortunately. There are good times, there are good moments. The animation is really good. The story, so many plot holes in their own story realm. So it's weird. I don't even know if they're making a sequel, but if they aren't, it's still missing a lot because it feels like it's a set piece by set piece. This series is about set pieces, which in the manga version it's not. the set pieces, but the set pieces is done by build-ups. That's what's missing in this one. There's some good aspect in there, and it's a nice way to transition from borrowing the manga of elements and using the anime exclusive. There's some good ones, but then they're missing a lot of other ones because I guess the draft didn't make the cut. I don't know. What else? The characters, if anything, the only one that really shine is the CCG people. They're the one that shine because for the most part, they kept it from the manga. The heroes, Toka, the weird thing about Toka one is I don't know why they lessen a lot with Toka and Kaneki relationship. Like, again, it's more of a Toka doing the thing, but Kaneki also does his thing in the manga edition. The anime edition, not so much. It's more of a Toka thing. Like, say, for example, where Kaneki was going to Ogiri for whatever reason, she tried to chase him, she stopped, and that was it. In the manga version, it's more meaningful, but it's not even to go on Ogiri. He's like, I'm going to do my mission. It's like, it would be nice if you do your mission, finishing up the school. Because that's what your wish, right? I want you to finish that. I don't want you to be distracted anymore. So please, please do what you have to do. And goodbye. And, it's very meaningful for these two. But the anime version is like more of her doing the chasing. So I don't get that either. There's so much less scene between Toka and Kaneki relationship as to say, like, we can't make this good. We're going to make the other series look crap. So I don't know. They didn't want to do that. It's weird how Toka seems to be blamed. I have no idea why. She has no fault to this. They made it seem like Kaneki was the right thing to do. In the manga version, both of them are technically wrong, but at the same time right. But more of Toka's side, especially when it comes to telling Kaneki that he's doing this in a selfish reason, which I don't understand in the anime edition, because the anime never really get that clear thought of Kaneki doing this in a selfish reason. But they still kept that set pieces because it seemed cool in the manga version. But you needed a build up and you needed to understand why Kaneki was like that to begin with. But it never really explained. It was too vague. So, with that scene, instead of her saying like, okay, I got Kaneki out of the way. I got Kaneki out of the way. In the manga, it's like, I got Kaneki out of the way by screaming him so damn loud. So I hope he stay away from me. And that was the manga edition. Anime edition, he's like, I think I screamed too loud. Did I make him scared? It's like, I don't know. Do you find yourself being more at fault than Kaneki? Because I see it more of an equal boundary. If not, you're the winner. So I don't get that one. It seems so lighthearted, especially when Hanami's like, oh, so happy about this and everything. By the way, Ito is so revealed, so damn easy. If it's Ishida call for making Ito very revealing, easily reveal, fine by me. I don't know why they did that. Maybe he just did. Maybe if he did kept that draft, maybe he thinking himself, I don't give a crap about the anime version. They really screwed it up, so I'm just gonna keep this way. But who knows? But anyway, the whole Toka thing. It just seems like they changed her mood. I don't know why. It may sound strange to you guys, but I feel like they shonalize her by making her smile more often than not. She doesn't smile that much in the manga version, especially in the early scenes. She smile a lot of things that Kaneki does with Hanami and everything else. In the manga, it takes a while. It takes it to the point that it needs to. That she really grows to care more and more by each passing arcs, but not like right away in the first arc or something like that. The typical. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that, especially in that kind of series. It's just letting you guys know that they changed it that way. So, yeah, got much it. So yeah, you may notice that a lot of characters has changed in this version. Not too much, but a lot of characterization of themselves, the more in-depth of their looks, is very downgraded and very skipped. Mainly Kaneki, especially because this Kaneki, I would say he's okay. I didn't like the second season Kaneki because he's so lifeless and just lifeless. I guess that's the I don't have that much a better term for that one, but Kaneki, I really didn't think this one is a really good one. I like the manga version, of course. So yeah, that's really about it about the series overall. In the total thing is, I don't know, is passable. But because of Rude, it leaves so many plot holes, and it leaves a lot of boring aspects. And the protagonist becomes very dull because he doesn't speak, he doesn't appear anymore that much often, and everything like that. So they got the set piece right for the more or less. So what's weird is that. I've been seeing like somebody review like certain aspect of the episode, especially Alma versus Kaneki. That person really raved it, like it was a great episode. Me, I thought it was not bad. It was actually it was good. It was a good episode, but it feels like if you got the real edition with more emotion, this one has emotion, but the manga version was more emotional, especially with Kaneki all smiling up, asking his name, and how they feel like they could connect so well. They could be really good friend if they weren't on the different side. It felt so good. So I couldn't imagine if they made a Tokyo Ghoul Brotherhood, as people say it. If they make a Brotherhood out of this anime, this series, sorry, I couldn't imagine the different reaction. I could imagine this could be like a huge boost, like Fullmetal Alchemist to Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood to Hunter x Hunter to Hunter x Hunter 2011, and so on. I could imagine an incredible boost of like, holy crap, this is a great show. But in the meantime, we got this, and I really can't. I don't want to show this to my friends, my brother, or anybody. It just gives the wrong interpretation. Like I said, it has been shonalized. It's weird, but it's true. It has been shonalized, not because of the less gore and all that stuff. I don't really care for those. What I care is the drama, the story, how the atmosphere, the world itself. There's less cruel in the anime and much, much, much cruel in the manga. And it's not doing that just to be like, we're so edgy and dark. But it's more like bringing a point to the series and bringing a point of the character like Kaneki and everyone else has to suffer for. So, I'm hoping Brotherhood comes out. The only thing I could say is, try to read a manga. If you don't like the beginning of the manga, then try to watch the anime, and then maybe you could go back to the manga and see how much different it is. I know a lot of series, they cut off a lot of things too, but it's just that Tokyo Ghoul didn't do it well. It has so many characters it has a lot of characters to display, and it didn't do that. It has a lot of everything else. It just didn't want to fit in. It just want to get to the set piece. They changed Kaneki up. They made him more, innocent. Too innocent, in fact. More like we should feel sorry, even though a lot of man, as they want to say it, will hate this character so much because he's so adorable and all that stuff. But in reality, we could actually relate to him more than we thought. But because of the anime, how they portray it this way, we won't know. So you got to read a manga. It's the only way. If you like, I don't mind. If you enjoy first season, that's okay. Because first season, technically speaking, is enjoyable. It's not so bad. I would say, how far it goes, say it's probably good. Barely good. It's barely good. And for the standards of a Tokyo Ghoul fan, I would say it's okay. It's all right. But in the standalone, I thought it was, passable. Good. It's a passable good. Rude, unfortunately, is not so good. I say is barely above average, only because of the set pieces are really good. But that doesn't help the story, the characters, the animation, especially the animation in certain episodes, like episode 10. I think it was episode 10, but I remember just being jerky and everything, like, just seemed so wobbly. It seemed so, like, the last, look at it this way, at least we didn't get 167 of Naruto Shippuden, right? But still, it still felt weird. Other than that, that's all I got to say. I wouldn't recommend the anime, but if you need a head start, just see season 1. I don't know about Rude. I wanted to say ignore Rude, but well, it's up to you guys. So other than that, I'm done. I pray for Tokyo Ghoul Brotherhood. I pray for Madhouse to take over, because it seems like a trend if you think about it. We'll see one day. All right, I'm done here. So that's all. Please read the manga if you haven't already. If you're gonna see the anime, just be well aware it's very different. I don't mean different like Nanasu no Taizai. Fairy Tail is actually the same. Any other series, trust me, is very different. or even more different. It's just different. That's all you need to know. So yeah, I'm done. Just keep wishing for Tokyo Ghoul Brotherhood, and I'll see you next time for more extras. Take care, everyone.